I'm supposed to have a baby monitor. That's okay. I have my phone. It's a live stream. It's a live stream. Just realized I'm missing a pretty important piece of equipment in the live stream. In the live stream, I'm checking on my child in the live stream. Think she's fine in the live stream. She's asleep. She's fine in the live stream. In the disconnecting camera. In the live stream. Yeah, she's fine. In the live stream. Doing the live streams, talking about the stuff and the things, and the stuff and the things to do with the stuff and the things. Hi, kittens. There's kittens. There's kitties in the live stream. There's a peanut kitty. There's a smoky kitty. There's a Snickers kitty over there sniffing shoes. That's fun. I don't feel like spinning the camera around for that, but you know, she's there. She exists. always love the kitty. It's a little dark in my area. Good. I could stand to have a little bit more brightness. Just a little bit. Just bump it up a little bit, you know. In the live stream. Not the live stream, the day that's supposed to be the live stream. I did a different day on the live stream because it's a live stream. In the live stream, because it's a live stream. In case you didn't know, it's a live stream. Why is this the way that it is? Why do you exist in the way that you do? In the live stream, it's bright in the live stream. Why isn't it not? Where did I put the fucking... Where did I... Hold on, I know where I can find it. Just freaking... Can't find it. My stuff. It's somewhere... No. Yeah, no. I'm trying to find my damn Discord link. Fuck, where's... I'm a professional. Got this. I'll just do the long way around. What's happening here? Right now I'm just kind of sitting here rambling to myself. That's about it. That's about all I got right now. Right this very second. Always good. My thing keeps switching away from dark mode and I keep getting blinded. It's pretty fun. There you are. I hope you're the right link. If you're not, we'll figure it out. It'll be fine. It'll be great. Loneliness. Yeah, I think that's a pretty apt description. This either is or is not the link. Do I not have like a paste history? Is that not the thing? I feel like I should. I feel like I probably should. Loneliness. What abstract concept are we trying to understand today? Loneliness. Because Riley was lonely. Why are you paused? Why is everything happening? In it? Why do you do the things that you do? Technical difficulties. But welcome. Hope you're all having a good night. I'm having a pretty decent night. I'm losing my mind slightly, but all in all, pretty good. So I have 3 cats. They're pretty great. We're all insane in our own ways, and that's, I feel like, as it should be. It's a little spice to the world, I think. Just a little bit of something. You don't want too much spice, because then you go around murdering children in the woods. But like, you know, the right amount of spice. A little bit of spice is good. I only have one cat. Her name is Vivi. What about yours? I have Peanut, Snickers, and Smokey. Are my cats. They're pretty great. See, now I have it too bright. Lovely names. They're alright. Alright, they're pretty basic names. But, you know. Why do you keep doing this to me? Hey. I thought it would be like cream cracker biscuit cookie. Not quite. Not quite. Snickers was named the way she was because she was going crazy for food when my wife got her. And so my wife and her family are like, she's not the same when she's hungry as Snickers. Peanut was just, you know, a little peanut, little brain damaged, actually brain damaged, little kitten. So she's just, you know, a little peanut. And then Smokey's gray, and we're not creative, so Smokey. That's how we got there. Good day, everyone. Good day to you, Jason. Welcome. Names do have meaning. My wife is home. Speaking of my wife. If she can get through the door. There it is. We'll just sit here and judge her until she gets in. Hi.
Struggling, sorry.
Yeah.
This is what I need more arms.
You don't know why your cat's name is Vivi? It's a cute name. Why not? Sometimes a cute name is a cute name, and you can have a cute name for the purpose of having a cute name.
All the kids?
Yeah, all the kitties. Where's Snickers?
Right down here?
Oh.
On the floor?
All the kitties in here.
All of them are in here. Hey, kitties.
The starting I like Vivi. Like Vivi. Yes, madam.
Did you put my prescription in the bag when you left?
I didn't put anything in the bag.
We don't
Vivi.
have my prescription.
What?
Oh, we don't have my prescription.
Well, nobody came, so. Nobody came.
It's still there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody came.
No one came for the show?
I never got a.
Requested today?
I never got a notification for it. We're in the process of trying to sell our house.
The process sucks.
It's your birthday today.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Jason. What better place to come and waste time than my live stream? Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, Jason, happy birthday to you. Yay! I had a teacher in high school who, whenever she found out it was someone's birthday, she would just say, "This is your birthday song, it isn't very long," and then just move on with the class. Hello. Welcome, 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 welcome. You know, it was like, it was a little gesture, I guess. She didn't really care. She just kind of didn't really care whose birthday it was. Celebrate birthday for every wrong reason. Is there a wrong reason to celebrate a birthday? I don't imagine there's many. I'm sure some exist, but I don't imagine there's many. Why did I click? Why have I done this? Why does it open a new tab every time I open a new tab? Born as a failure, you're close to death, so I don't have to suffer. You know, it's important to have goals. It's important to have goals, you know. Preferably healthy goals, but like whatever gets you happy, I guess. It's one way to look at it, you know. I don't really care for my birthdays, personally. I'm somewhat of a failure myself, so it's alright. It's just another year. My wife gets excited. She's like, "What do you want to do for your birthday? You know, what do you want? You know, as a present?" I'm just like, "No, no." Just really don't celebrate birthday. I don't. I have a wife and some family who likes to make a thing of it, but I myself don't particularly care. And Peanut's just slowly getting comfy and laying down. Hey, sweet girl. Hi. Let's see here. What do we have in the comments for this week? I feel like a failure by everyone, and everyone says that I'm not. I have a goal. Well, it's good to have goals. What would your goal be? And I'm sure you're not a failure. You're probably like me in the case where you're your own worst critic, where like nobody, you think poorly of yourself, but nobody ever actually like thinks of you that way. Like it's just you. You want to be a doctor? Doctors are great. Enjoy medical stuff, biology, chemistry. Do it. Go get that school, get that education. Low self-esteem. Yeah. It's kind of a bitch. It's not my favorite thing. It's not my favorite thing. Somebody left a comment in the comment section. I'm on it. Well, good. Somebody left a comment. Like, if you don't like this country, if you don't want to live here, move to a different country. You know, I'll just do that. I'll just uproot my entire life and move off somewhere where I have no friends, family, or connections with money that I don't have, and just kind of fucking figure it out. If I had the means, mostly if I had the money, I would not live in this country. Most likely, I would probably not choose to live in this country. So I have OCD. What about you? I have ADHD. It's pretty great. Some anxiety and depression. It's pretty great. Yeah, one does not simply just move their entire lives to a different country. And I still have people commenting on the Abrahamic religions post when I said Judaism, Islam, and Christianity all worship the same God. They just kind of go different directions with it. It's just facts. God, my hair in some of these older videos. People need to stop watching some of the older videos. I have slight ADHD and I'm doing a survey of sorts, like weekly checkups. Not bad. Hi, Rick. How's it going? Made a post saying LGBTQ plus people just want equal rights, and that's about it. And somebody said, what about the times they want special rights? I can't think of any. As far as I can tell, LGBTQ plus people just want the same rights as everyone else, just to be themselves and live. That's about it. It's really quite that simple. Hello, my love. Welcome home.
Hi, Jack.
Stay there. My lovely wife. How was work? Long? Yeah. I got the lawn mowed. All I have to do is, there's a bunch of piles of grass because I ran out of time to pick them all up.
That's okay.
But other than that, yeah. Got it mowed.
Okay.
Got the mower out of the car by myself.
Impressive.
It's not impressive. You did it first.
You had to help me get it onto the floor.
No, you did it by yourself one time.
No, you came out.
No, you did it by yourself.
I got it out, but I couldn't get it all the way to the floor. I'd have you help me with that.
Okay, well, then it's fine. All right, yeah. I lifted the mower out of the car all by myself, the only one of us to do it. I am impressive. I'm amazing. Bow down.
There you go, babe.
Am I related to any part of LGBTQ? I am pansexual and non-binary myself.
Did you happen to make dinner?
I did not. I mean, I make myself dinner, but I did not make anything for you. I just kind of made myself.
I knew you didn't love me.
I just kind of made myself chicken nuggets real quick.
I knew you didn't love me. Why is there tape on here?
Probably because our daughter put tape on it.
Why?
I don't know.
Where did she get into the tape?
Where did she get the tape? Our daughter found tape somewhere.
Question is, did she put it back or is it still hiding somewhere?
Well, is the tape in the drawer? That's the question. But yes, I am LGBTQ plus. Multigender, pangender, but I have so many that I am basically a gender neutral. I'm not sure if I'm demi-romantic or aromantic, but I'm very pansexual still. It doesn't matter who it is. Makes sense. You might be like gender fluid or gender neutral or something like that. Snickers. Hello. Hi. You want to come say hi to the people? I got the other two kitties on.
Did you abandon this over there?
I did leave that over there. But I did check the cameras, and she was asleep. So we're fine.
Since we captured everything.
I did, I was being a responsible husband. Father is gender fluid. Don't know if I am, but it's very likely. Maybe. You're just yourself. Here. There's the Snickers kitten. Kind of. Look at the camera. There it is. Let me speak, bro. You've been very cuddly lately. Are you looking for evidence for God? Yes, I am. Yeah, it would be cool if I could have it. I've been looking for it. Are you serious? Any evidence for God? Any like good evidence for God? Like I won't accept like look at the trees or like something that doesn't actually qualify as evidence, but like yeah, credible evidence. Thoughts on the furry community and its subcommunities? Just let people do what they want if they're not hurting anyone. Jonah 4:11. Okay, so we're not off to a great start because the Bible doesn't really prove anything about a God. But we'll go to Jonah 4:7. King James. 4:11. Sorry. And should not I spare Nineveh, that great city? I already showed them.
She's so cute.
And should I not spare Nineveh, that great city, wherein are more than 60,000 persons that cannot discern between their right hand and their left hand, and also much cattle? I don't know what that's supposed to do for me, I'm going to be honest with you. The hard problem of consciousness is evidence for God alone? No. So anything that you bring up that's like, hey, we don't understand how this works, therefore it must be God, is just a God of the gaps fallacy or personal incredulity if it's something that somebody understands that you just don't. So I don't know, therefore God is not a valid form of evidence for a God.
She's so content.
The sign of Jonah is that the Gentiles don't know the right hand from the left hand, or they're many animals, which is why they're still having sex. But we believe in evolution. You're going to have to dumb that down for me a little bit more. And also, Jonah was ready to die rather than love his neighbor. You're going to have to dumb that down for me a little bit more as to how that gets me to evidence for a God. Are you religious? No. The fact that the universe has all the hallmarks of design, too, even ones that don't coincide. Naturally, the universe is both stable and efficient. Natural things lose efficiency when scaled. It is not that there isn't evidence, it's more that you don't accept evidence for God. No, it's, I don't know, therefore God isn't evidence. It's not. Because we used to plug supernatural explanations, a variety of supernatural explanations, into a lot of things, a lot of natural phenomenon. Insect swarms, natural disasters, the sun rising and setting, eclipses, disease, all used to have strictly supernatural elements. It was about spirits, it was about magic, it was about, something divine. Now we have actual better credible evidence for those things because we came up with those supernatural explanations because we didn't have a better explanation. So we're just like, we don't know what it is, therefore it must be something else. But we've come up with actual better, credible, evidence-based explanations since then. So that whole, I don't know, therefore it must be something magical or divine, failed us, and has failed us multiple times. So we can't just keep using it. It doesn't make any sense to say we have no idea how this happened, therefore I know exactly how it happened. The universe is not perfect or pretty or stable or calm or ordered or anything. I guess it's got its own little order, but it's still pretty chaotic. We have settled into a relatively quiet segment of the universe because the chaotic part is kind of done. Planets have kind of established their orbits. Things that were floating around to disrupt those orbits have either crashed into stuff or been yeeted out of the solar system. So it's relatively calm now, but it was even chaotic in our solar system when it was being formed. So no, I completely reject 100% that we don't know how this worked. Look at this design. I completely reject that is any kind of evidence. Seems like everything's just some kind of natural process. Maybe it is a design, but we still have no evidence for a designer or design. And I don't know, therefore, not saying something magical or divine, wonderful straw man, though. I am saying awareness is fundamental, which implies a prime cause with independent will. Call it God. No. Awareness is fundamental. No. Awareness seems to just be something, awareness, consciousness seems to be something that just kind of arose out of our intellect, our brains doing brain stuff. And just because we don't understand how that works does not mean it has to have been a God. Issue: Jews, Christians, Muslims question they can't universally answer and agree upon is the infinite nature of God and understanding of God's will and the role of Jesus and the validity of Torah, Bible, and Quran. Biblical accounts that prophets are drunk and unable to perform their duties describes prophets consumed by intoxication and unable to interpret God's infinite nature and understand God's will. And Zeno works to answer your question, why did chat turn religious? It happens. It's kind of what we're here for. Yeah, I don't know how finite creatures like us would even be able to understand a God or his will or his nature or anything. It didn't seem like he really equipped us to be able to do that. It kind of seemed like we were just doomed from the start. We don't care whether you reject it. The objective observations showed that the universe has all the hallmarks of a design. Does it have the hallmarks of a design, or does it just do stuff? And this is just stuff that the universe does, and we don't understand it all. But these could all just be natural processes of the universe. The universe is very, very old. It's very, very big. It's filled with a lot of stuff, and it does a lot of stuff. You don't need anything divine. You don't need any kind of creator for that. You really just don't. It's kind of just the puddle analogy. This is just what the universe does. This is how it works. And we don't know if it could have worked a different way. We don't have any other universes that work a different way to compare our universe to. So it just seems like this is how the universe works. And that consciousness and all this stuff is just something that the universe does. Something that comes naturally from the universe. Can we agree the universe objectively demonstrates efficiency via the objective observation of the lack of conservation of energy? Be honest. Can we agree that the universe demonstrates efficiency via the objective observation, don't fight your sister, of the law of conservation of energy? Stop fighting your sister. And I like how you put be honest. I am honest. I'm being honest this entire time. I'm sorry if your arguments just aren't as great as you think they are. Law of conservation of energy. I'm trying to wrap my head around your question. I really am. That it's efficient, that it conserves energy. I would say that's pretty efficient. I just saw you were looking for evidence, so I hope you consider Jonah because Jesus gave that as the only sign to people divorced from God for adultery with the gods of this world. I don't really find any credibility in the Bible, unfortunately. The Bible is a book of claims. Okay, great. Can we also agree that it objectively has a function to create galaxies, stars, and life? That it can, yes. Stars and galaxies and life and stuff can arise from the universe, yes. That is something that the universe can do. And the cat's just laying down. Also, I'm sorry if I skipped some chats earlier. A few of y'all just started putting in like more thought-provoking stuff, and I was reading those and I didn't quite get to everything. So if I missed something important, please feel free to put it again in the chat if I don't answer. Because like I'll be talking and trying to figure something out, and then like 2 other chats will come through as I'm talking, and then more chats, and I can't get too far behind. Perfect. So far, efficiency and functionality. How about intelligibility? Are we able to understand the universe well enough to survive, including other species? Yes, but that's not necessarily all life. We were able to figure it out and evolve because we were able to figure out and evolve because that's how it works. And those who were not able to figure out and evolve didn't make it. That's just kind of how it works. But yes, we do have the ability to understand basic survival, to learn basic things of if I do this, I live, if I do this, I die. The universe is objectively intelligible. There's a lot that we don't understand about the universe, though, is the issue. There's a lot that we don't understand about the universe. We don't know anything about the universe, actually. We can't even see a good chunk of the universe from our vantage point, because the Milky Way galaxy gets in the way of a good portion. We have this little window and that little window to see the universe outside of the Milky Way galaxy. So, to an extent that we need to survive, we can figure it out enough to survive. But as far as understanding the universe, no. I mean, we're still having conversations about we don't know how this happened, therefore it must have been something divine. Like, we're still trying to plug in explanations that we don't even have evidence for because we don't have good explanations regardless. There's so much that we still don't know. How about things like aesthetics? The golden ratio is prevalent in art, architecture, and other things of beauty, and prevalent in nature. So we can agree the universe is objectively, geometrically aesthetics. Sure, I'll go ahead and give you that one. I think it might be a little more complicated than that, but sure. I'm really not seeing how this is getting us to a god. This is just kind of this. I understand the universe operates in a certain way, but it's just how the universe operates. And there are certain laws by which it operates. It's just how it works and stuff. We agreed on efficiency, and for similar reasons. We can agree that the universe is sustainable, too. The universe is sustainable? No. One of these days, the universe is gonna die, most likely. One of the ways that the universe might end is the heat death, when everything spreads out too far to where we don't have enough heat and everything fades out. You don't get enough reactions to make new stars, so the stars that are there eventually die and then nothing replaces them, and it all just goes quiet and cold. So sustainable would not be the word that I would use. Issue divine revelation and interpretations of God's infinite nature, claiming to perfect and supersede the teachings of previous faiths, raise complex issues about having a true understanding of God's will. Yeah. Human history is filled with people just trying to figure out how things work and trying to figure out how a being that could make things work would work. And then we have these stories here and there about somebody having some kind of interaction with an actual God, be that based in any kind of fact or not. And so now we have to piece that together. We have to figure that out. We have all these conflicting stories. Looks kind of like they're all made up to me, but it's a lot of people struggle with what is God, and trying to with all these different ideas, trying to come up with one solid one. Basically, my argument is this: the universe has all of the hallmarks of design, which do not coincide in totality in undesigned things. The hallmarks of design are usability, efficiency, functionality, aesthetics, scalability, sustainability, innovation, reality, adaptation. So where are you getting these hallmarks from? Who says that these are hallmarks of simplicity, longevity, intelligibility? We already discussed that we don't understand a lot about the universe, and there's a lot that we can't understand. Longevity, it does have a time limit. Simplicity, no. It's very complex and crazy. Sustainability, no. Aesthetics, sure, it's pretty. Efficiency, I wouldn't even say that either. The universe is sustainable. Heat death isn't fact, and even if it is, the cynical interpretation means it is very sustainable. So what does sustainable mean? Let's kind of try to focus on that. What does sustainable mean? Because I don't know. Stars die and explode and take their planets with them. Planets that have life on them could lose that life in a variety of different ways. So what are we sustaining exactly? Which one of these 12 hallmarks given can you deny that the universe exhibits? I can give you objective observations to support it does have that. I just knocked out like half of them. I just gave my issues with like half of them. I also asked where you get these hallmarks and where these hallmarks mean that it has to be designed. And you did not answer that. For example, if I make the argument that a smartphone is designed because it has 12 of those hallmarks, my argument would hold. Here's the problem though. We know how phones work. We know that they don't just appear naturally. We know that somebody came up with the idea for a phone. Somebody builds phones, somebody manufactures them, somebody, we have factories that make them. We have the entire plot laid out of somebody coming up with it, someone making it, and us having it. We can map that entire thing out and see that it is for sure something that was designed and made. We don't have that with the universe. We just have that the universe is here. We just have that humans are here. We don't really have that somebody designed it and see the process. We don't have that with anyone else. Disingenuous. We agreed to efficiency already when asked about the law of conservation of energy. Disingenuous. Okay. I'm sorry. And you are talking very cleverly, so perhaps some of it is going over my head. That might be part of it. But it does not matter how complex the universe seems, how efficient, how well it works. It doesn't get us to a creator. It doesn't. I don't know how it works, therefore God does not get us to a creator. It doesn't. And especially when you think of all the failed stars, all the failed solar systems, all the rogue planets floating in outer space. The fact that there are some galaxies and solar systems and stars holding stuff together, there's still a lot of chaos and nonsense and mess out there. I agreed that the conservation of energy is efficient, even though that energy kind of fades out and dissipates as we spread out further, which heat death could happen. Doesn't matter not knowing how the universe works or not knowing anything about how a phone works, doesn't mean we can't posit it was designed. Backwards thinking. It just seems more believable to me. And maybe this is a me problem. Maybe this is me. You might be owning me. You might be owning me here. But I just lost my train of thought. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It seems to me more likely that the universe just does things. It just operates a certain way. We have physics and gravity and stuff that just operate in a certain way, and that this is how it operates. And if it operated differently, it might operate differently, and we would say that that's perfectly tuned. Of course, we don't know that because we don't have any other universes to compare it to see how it could have been different. But it just kind of seems like this is just how the universe works. I didn't cite complexity, I cited simplicity. In accordance to 11 other hallmarks means it is rational to conclude the universe is designed. I don't really think it's simple either. And that's not something that a lot of people call it simply. Energy doesn't fade out. I misspoke there. I'll give you that one. The universe expanding and things spreading out more, and the energy not being so clustered together to where it can do useful stuff becomes the issue. You agreed to burn in hellfire for eternity? I didn't agree to that. Do you believe there's only a physical world? I don't believe we have any reason to believe in any other world. The universe being made by a creator is proven by contingent truths, where everything that exists is contingent on another thing existing, and that thing is also a contingent or something else. And that's fine, but we don't even know what caused our universe. So like, we can't go back to a creator or even talk about an infinite regress of cause and effect if we don't even know how our universe got here. That becomes that issue. Things are contingent, but we don't know how far that goes and what that looks like. It just seems more believable to me. So you're basing your lack of belief on faith, intuition. It seems to me more likely the universe just does stuff. More or less. So the universe acting a certain way and us not understanding why it works that way, how it works so well, all this stuff, is not evidence for a God. It's not. Not understanding how it is. You can break it down. I can understand. I will agree with you wholeheartedly that it's weird. It's crazy. And it gets more than just the rocks floating in space. Humans. Trees. You know, I hear the look at the trees argument more so from atheists making fun of theists, but I look at the trees. What is a tree? Why does it look the way that it looks? Phone almost fell. Oh, and it did fall. Why do they look the way that it looks? Why is there life instead of non-life? Why is there something instead of nothing? How does the mind work? It's crazy, it's weird, and I'm going to be completely on board with that. How does the universe work the way it does? Why does it work the way it does? And it does seem to work quite well, and it seems to follow the certain system to where it does its thing. I love space. I see the solar systems and the galaxies and the stars and all this stuff, and I see how crazy it all is. But it doesn't get us to a creator. It doesn't get us to a creator. And you're doing a great job, you are, at explaining how the universe is working and how crazy it is and how weird it is and how perfect it seems. And I'm with you. I really, really am. But that does not get us to a God just because it seems... Because what if the universe worked different and it came to a different conclusion? What if we had 4 arms instead of 2 and we were talking about that being a perfect design just like we're talking about having 2 arms? Or what if we developed a different sense? What if instead of having eyes, we used some kind of echolocation things and we said that was perfect? It seems like we're just looking at the universe and saying this is how it's supposed to work, this is how it should work. And just saying that therefore there must be something to it. Rather than the universe just does stuff. It just operates the way that it operates. And there are effects of that operation. And we're one of those, and we don't understand it all. But that just doesn't get us to a God. Can we agree there is not an infinite regress of humans? So humans did have a cause or a prior species. If yes, why consider an infinite regress to the universe? Well, it goes further than species, because matter can't be created or destroyed. So it goes back to species to species to species, to non-living life, to shit floating in space, to stars, to, all the way back to the beginning of the universe. The problem is we don't. The problem is and I'm sorry I keep repeating myself, but the problem is we don't understand how the universe works. I can agree. Infinite regress doesn't really seem like it, but also it could be. The universe is infinite. Why can't its regress be infinite? But saying, therefore, we have to put a pin in it somewhere, and therefore that something must be this God, and must be my God, and it must operate this way or whatever, even if you're not saying that, just saying that it must be a God or creator of sorts, doesn't make it so. Just coming up with a concept and plugging it in at the starting line to solve the infinite regress doesn't solve the infinite regress if you can't even demonstrate that the thing exists. If you say there is no God, you have to be 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure. And if I slipped and said that there absolutely isn't one, then forgive me. But I have no reason to believe in one. But I wouldn't claim that there for sure isn't one. Observations also show that unguided input of energy makes things more simple, not complex. Yet evolution implies unguided energy leads to more complexity. Because evolution just kind of tinkers with shit. And just kind of adds and builds onto stuff. It's just more cells doing more stuff and more DNA changing to do more stuff. So naturally, as you're adding more to it, it's going to get more complex. It's not going to become simpler. So it makes sense with evolution being more complicated. Why can't the existence of humans infinitely regress? Same answer is that to that is why we cannot posit an infinite regress of the universe. Well, I just traced humans all the way back to the birth of the universe. So that puts us at the same spot as the universe as far as infinite regress. And then I explained infinite regress and how that might be an issue, and we don't understand. We don't even know how our current version of the universe got here, or what version could have been before. So we can't speak on to what happened before. And we can make assumptions, we can guess, we can say maybe it was this or that, but we don't really have anything. The issue is God searches for truth in the heart. Flesh and blood does not reveal God. You're talking about scientific religion, not scientific fact. The Grand Canyon is a fossil graveyard because of a flood. The Grand Canyon is a fossil. The Grand Canyon was carved by a river. So if you're talking about like fish fossils, it also just is high up, so you can see different layers of the deeper you go, the sedimentary rock or something like that. Yeah. You see different layers because more layers get added onto the crust or get blown onto the crust. So the deeper you get, the further back you go. So yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of fossils buried in each of those layers. I'm sure a lot of things have died in the Grand Canyon. A lot of things have lived in the Grand Canyon. So I'm sure there's a lot of crazy stuff in there. You keep saying we don't know, but it's you that doesn't know. Is this still religious? It is. Most of my platforms are. Most of my streams are. This is my first time here. You look like a nerd. Thank you. Do you agree that if awareness exists today... do you agree that... Sorry, the thing started scrolling. If awareness exists today in the universe, then awareness must be embedded or hidden in the source of existence too. If not, you are contradicting naturalism. Awareness can be a product of the universe. I'm sorry, let me read it again. Do you agree that if awareness exists today, then in the universe, then awareness must be embedded or hidden in the source of existence too? If not, you are contradicting naturalism. I'm not really worried about contradicting naturalism too much, but embedded or hidden in the source of existence. The source of awareness would be embedded in the source of existence. If that's what you're saying. We all agree we don't know, which is why we call it belief in God. So let's not keep harping on that fact because an appeal to ignorance is logically fallacious. Okay. An appeal to ignorance is logically fallacious. Okay. You've kind of been making an appeal to ignorance this entire time, saying the universe is so crazy, how could it work this way? Therefore, it must be some kind of creator. But, okay. Can someone tell what we're talking about? We're talking about God, or not God, or how the universe got here. No awareness must be embedded in the source of matter. If awareness is embedded in matter emergently, then matter is embedded in its source. No awareness must be embedded in the source. You gotta try to talk to me a little bit dumber. You gotta dumb it down and talk to me like I'm 5. I'm having a hard time understanding, and that's a me thing, but it's hard. You gotta talk to me like I'm 5. Not everyone's on the same level of intelligence as you. You're gonna need to help me out there. Awareness must be embedded in the source of matter. If awareness is embedded in matter emergently, and matter is embedded in its source. What we need for awareness has to be somewhere in the source of everything else, because awareness came from everything else. I haven't appealed to ignorance, sir. I have been very specific. The universe has 12 hallmarks which demonstrate design. Where do we determine that these are the hallmarks of design?
Yeah, you've asked that multiple times. I don't think they've answered that.
Where do we?
Where are you going to be?
How educated are you? Just curious? Not very. Where do we get these hallmarks of design? Where are you deciding that these are the hallmarks of design? Where are you deciding that if these factors are in play, something must be designed? Also, forgive me if I've skipped some of different chats up here. I'm trying to focus on the intellectually stimulating and focus requiring conversation. Consider that intelligence can only be created by intelligence. No. And particles bumping into each other to create an infinitely expanding universe is only possible when you factor intelligence in. No. The universe is very, very old. It's been doing stuff for a long time. Stuff happens. Okay, mate, so we agree awareness can emerge from matter, and matter can emerge from the universe. Yes. Then matter and awareness must be embedded in the universe or its source too. No, I've agreed to that a couple times already, that what is needed for awareness must be somewhere in the source of the universe. That is what I'm saying. Not that it was there the entire time, but what is needed, just like humans, what is needed for humans in life has to be embedded somewhere in the source of the universe. It didn't just, a human didn't just spawn in as soon as the universe got here. So how can you rule out that that source is aware? We can't, but how can you conclude that it's aware? Especially when the vast majority of the universe seems to be unaware. Stars, planets, rocks just kind of existing and doing stuff without any awareness. Awareness comes when you have sentient life, like humans and animals. So it looks like the vast majority isn't aware. You said earlier that matter can't be destroyed or created, so where did all the matter come from? You can't say the Big Bang because that wouldn't need matter to react with matter. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where everything came from. Yeah, the universe starts with the Big Bang or the Big Expansion is the best explanation that we have right now. But that's not necessarily where all the matter was created. I conclude that it is aware because all naturalistic explanations of consciousness imply a fundamental awareness. All naturalistic explanations of consciousness imply a fundamental awareness. How so? And I'm gonna keep saying it. Just because we don't understand how the universe works doesn't mean it has to have been created. Just because it's crazy and weird and there's a lot of crazy stuff to it does not mean it has to have been created. Just because we don't understand it does not mean it has to have been created. That doesn't get us evidence. For example, IIT posits awareness emerges from a system being able to integrate information. The singularity has extremely compacted, integrated information, implying it has a form of awareness too. IIT? What's IIT? Posits awareness emerges from a system being able to integrate information. So what's IIT? Where are we getting this? The singularity has extremely compacted, integrated information, implying it has a form of awareness too. Integrated information theory. Okay. Let me do a quick Google search on that. Very interesting. Naturalistic theory of consciousness. So, consciousness proposes consciousness arises from the way. And forgive me for taking a minute. This is just something that I can't really speak to because it's you just introduced it to me like 30 seconds ago. So I'm trying to learn a completely new scientific theory here. So bear with me. So does it really? Does this theory really? Have a good night, Xenoworks. Does it really go into why are you guys weird? Because that's the best way to be. Because what I'm briefly skimming through, not having a highly educated opinion on it, doesn't really talk about origin very much. Just kind of like how consciousness works and how different stimuli can affect how we work and do things. Positive awareness emerges from a system being able to integrate information. Singularity has extremely compacted, integrated information, implying That's what awareness do. The singularity just kind of had a bunch of stuff in it that then did stuff. I'm just trying to connect some dots here because I'm not getting there. I'm going to be honest with you. You cannot debunk God. As far as we can tell, you cannot falsify the existence of a God, and that's part of the reason why it's a rejectable hypothesis. Are you some kind of scientist? No. How do you know that someone is not lying to you? Sometimes you can tell, other times you can't. There's different factors that go into each. I'm already at an hour. That's fun. Any evidence against God? The lack of evidence for God. Also, from what I understand, the theory is integrated information theory isn't really like mainstream. It's just, it does say theory, which gives it credibility. Because a theory in science isn't just theory. It's in the big bottom drawer. I couldn't fit it in the main drawer that we keep stuff in. Yeah, of course it has. Not all scientists agree with it because that's how science works. So that doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out. Help me get to the information integrated into the singularity. Maybe we can talk more about that. Maybe that'll help me. Basically, if a system has irreducible causal influence regarding parts, integrating and interacting with each other, then awareness emerges, implying singularity equals awareness because it has compactness, density, and unity in an extreme way. Implying singularity awareness because it has compacted density and utility in an extreme same way. So I can have a bunch of ingredients mashed together, including the ingredients that I need to make a cake. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I have a cake there. It just means that I have what I'll need for a cake. Once the singularity expanded out and atoms started interacting with each other and we got physics involved and all this stuff, things were able to become more complex and things were able to be built off of this and that. And we were able to piece some of that stuff together. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the stuff that we have now was, as we see it now, present in the singularity. We just kind of had some of the ingredients in the singularity. Outside of your house? Nice. There is no free will? I'd agree. I hate agreeing to it, but I think I would agree. Hello. Love your content? Well, thank you. Even natural explanations on consciousness imply God too. How so? You are being tricked out of life by your own willingness. Maybe. Am I educated? I am educated. I'm trying. We can just say that, you know. I'm doing my best.
Well, more than some other people.
I don't know. I don't know what you would call it at the end of the day. I've learned things, you know. I've been making this kind of content for 2 years. I've been trying to study it with all of this for much more than 2 years. So I've tried to learn things, so I know some things. But educated intelligence, I don't. I do struggle with depression. It's pretty great. There's a YouTuber called The Messenger of Truth who says we should not critically think and instead blindly follow God. That's your thought. What's your thoughts on that? You should always critically think on anything. And if a God is afraid of critical thinking, then it's no God at all. Because it should be able to hold up against critical thinking and scientific inquiry. Hello. You are deceived? Maybe. I might be. I could be wrong about everything. I say that all the time. I mean, I used to be fully convinced that there was a God. I used to think I had a great relationship with that God. I used to be devoted to that God. Now I don't believe in a God. So somewhere in one of those twos, I was probably wrong. I was probably on the wrong side. And I've done a 180 on a few of my beliefs like that. So I've demonstrated, to myself at least, that I absolutely can be wrong. When you have two completely different opposing ideas, especially like, is there a God, is there not a God? And I've been on both sides of that. At some point, I was wrong. So, who knows? I mean, obviously I don't claim that there isn't a God now, but believing in one versus not believing in one, I was right in one of those and wrong in the other. So, I absolutely can be wrong. I can be deceived. Gone the other direction from 12 to 14. I didn't really believe in God. Now I think there is one. Everyone's got their own journeys. Everyone comes to different figuring outs of things. I did not ask to be born. It's pretty cool that I was. I like existing. It's alright. Would you consider yourself atheist or agnostic? I would consider myself an agnostic atheist. Because those are two separate, non-conflicting categories, atheism and agnosticism. Gnosticism and agnosticism refer to claims of knowledge, claiming to know, not claiming to know. Theism and atheism are referring to claims of belief, having belief, not having a belief. So, I am an agnostic atheist. I don't hold the belief in a God, but I don't claim to know that there is or is not one. I used to be a Gnostic theist. I used to believe in the existence of a God and know for certain that there was one. I thought nothing could ever change my mind on that. And then, here I am. So I guess that didn't work out. Do you ever have any anger towards your parents? Everyone does, I feel like. You guys might talk about turning to Christ or something for mental peace. That's cool, but what about kids who are born directly in a war zone? Yeah. Who is causing those wars? God's creation. Assuming there is a God who created everything. Kind of all goes back to God when you think about it. And I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here. I don't promote the, it ran away. I just saw it sprout legs and run away. Problem of evil. I don't really promote the problem of evil argument against the existence of a God. Because I'd be willing to buy that an all-knowing, all-good, all-powerful creator being could allow evil or do evil for good reasons, that he might have good reasons. That's why I often say, if I die one day and I'm face-to-face with, say, the God of the Bible, I would have a lot of questions that would need a lot of good answers before I ever even think about bowing. So maybe there are, because it's a god, you know? Its ways have to be so far beyond my own. So surely there might be, surely there's a lot of things that I wouldn't understand about why it does the things that it does. I'm just gonna need to have those answers when you, especially if the Bible is real. You know, when you're genociding entire nations, the entire world, um, uh, it's, it's why men, women, children, babies, just glass them all, factory reset, harden Pharaoh's heart so you can keep destroying Egypt to show the world how amazing you are. I'm not saying you don't have reasons. I'm just saying I'm gonna want those reasons. I'm gonna want to know those reasons. You know, before I bow down. Once I get up there, once I'm out of my, when I've, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? When I've shuffled off my mortal coil. I don't know if shuffle's the right word. What's the word he uses? Shuffled. When I'm released from my mortal coil, and am perhaps a higher being capable of better understanding. I would like to have those answers. What if you can get those answers to the questions now whilst alive? I'd be open to it. I'd be open to it. God judged the gods of Egypt. Yeah, you know, it wasn't great. I don't know why the babies had to suffer for that. I don't know why all men, women, and children had to suffer from that. And I don't know why, like, I'm going to assume the plagues stopped. It's kind of understood that the babies don't suffer. Okay, well, we're going to disagree hard on that. The plagues stopped once they got out of Egypt. So, like, the plagues would have stopped at any point if Pharaoh would have let them go out of Egypt. But God kept hardening Pharaoh's heart so that he wouldn't let them go out of Egypt. So he could keep making Egypt suffer. Babies don't lie? Yeah, I guess I would. I guess a baby doesn't really have all the faculties for lying. But babies do suffer. I again would hard disagree. She just kind of likes those, like, she likes body pets and stuff like that. I can see why she would like the brush.
One likes it, one's kind of okay with it, the other hates it.
Babies do so. God hardened Pharaoh's heart the same way your heart is hardened. It's God's fault. So God's hardening my heart. So hear that? A maverick being frank? It could have been that you just had the greatest explanation for the existence of God ever, but God hardened my heart, so it's not getting in. God hardened my heart, just like Pharaoh, just like some of the other kings of Canaan, that he hardened their hearts so that they would go and make war against Israel. At least one of them. I don't remember how. I want to say it was more than one. I know it was at least one. The very thought of God is hardening your heart, and you don't see it. Trying not to let that happen. I try to be pretty open-minded. I don't really say I have an open heart because my heart pumps blood. I don't think the heart really thinks or feels or accepts things, but I try to be open-minded completely. I would love there to be a God. I do want there to be some kind of something else out there. I want there to be an afterlife. I want there to be spirits. I want there to be some kind of God. I do. Not really on board with any of the gods of the established religions, but something else. I do actually genuinely want there to be something else. God does not reach into your heart to harden it. It is your will. I'm really trying to will for it not to be. Really, really am. Really want there to be a God.
She's like, no,
You're so cute.
you should be.
But you don't. You say I don't actually want there to be a God? So you're claiming to know more about me than myself? Just calling me a liar, just straight out? Is that how we're doing it? I tried to claim the babies. They belong to God. What? I didn't try to claim any babies. I said it's pretty fucked up to kill them and make them suffer for no good reason. For something that they didn't do. Jesus Christ is God as a man. He told us everything. Prove it. Religion might have caused most of the suffering in the world. It's definitely contributed. They go right to be with God. So it's okay when babies die in mass and when God just mass slaughters babies because they get to go to heaven and be with God. We're trying to support the murder of babies. We're trying to support the murder of babies. I just want to make sure we're all agreeing with that. We're trying to support the murder, or I'm not. I guess I shouldn't say we. You are trying to support the murder of babies. Believe what you want. Nobody should stop you. Whether or not God is real, it doesn't matter. It matters when there are people who believe in God who are trying to force God's laws on the general public. That matters. Belief informs actions, and beliefs in gods have informed terrible actions throughout human history and continue to do so today, so it does very much matter. Because apart from that, I don't care. I don't care who believes in what being or whatever. I don't care if somebody takes the flying spaghetti monster seriously. I don't care if somebody believes that aliens have visited us and probe people. I don't care. It's when you cross into my lane or the lane of others and try to make it my problem is when I start caring. It's when you say you need to now care or you will suffer or will have problems. That's when you'll care. It's when you try to make the beliefs law to force on everyone with punishments of things like fines or arrests or whatever, then we have a problem. If people want to keep their beliefs to themselves, I don't care what you believe in. It's when your beliefs inform your actions and it becomes a problem for everyone else. I'm curious, is it stressful to do these live streams for you? Sometimes. I overall enjoy them, even with some of the stress. I like learning about this stuff. I like talking about this stuff. I get anxiety about like fucking everything I do, including this. So there's that. But
every live stream, he asked me if he said anything.
Yeah, at the end of every live stream, I asked my wife if I said anything coherent or intelligent at all in the entire thing. Just self-doubt, all that stuff. But overall, I greatly enjoy these live streams. Look at the Bible. We do know God. You're just not going to accept it because you're evil and need to repent. Damn, shots fired. Why should I believe anything the Bible says? I'm also going to be ending the live stream soon. in a couple minutes. Just there's your warning. Why should I care about what the Bible says? Makes real doing to others what you want done unto you has been broken by millions. Yeah. Think we are forgetting the powers behind chakra meditation? Maybe. I'm not calling you evil. I'm telling you that people find ways to hold things against God. He makes it pretty easy. Do you ever ignore chat? Sometimes. Like I can't have 5 different conversations at once. I do often tell people, like, if you put a chat and I didn't see it, just go ahead and like put it again, if you really want me to respond to it. But otherwise, when chat's going and I'm trying to think and respond and have an actual conversation with this person, I don't always go through and read every single chat and respond to every single chat. I get behind on chat very, very quickly when I do that, to where I'm still reading stuff where people are responding like 20 chats down to what I just read, and like we're not like it's not a good way to have a conversation. So I tend to hop around just trying to engage with chat as best as I can. Satan thinks he's going to get away with what he does because he has twisted God's word against him. Maybe. Heaven, as most people think it, doesn't exist. The righteous will inherit the earth, but right now the dead in Christ are asleep. Okay. Mount Sinai, they found the top of the mount burnt, the split rock, pillars, etc. So I've actually looked at quite a bit of the archaeological stuff that people find, and the problem is people find a lot of weird stuff. They've found a lot of pillars of salt that they've said is Lot's wife. They found a lot of rock formations that they've said is Noah's Ark. It just kind of, if you walk around in the general area long enough, you're going to see just about everything. You're going to see rocks split in half. You're going to see, I don't even think the burns on top of Mount Sinai are burns. I think it's some other type of rock. I'm trying to vaguely remember a video that I saw like once, so don't take that as any kind of like, take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, a lot of people try to look for stuff and say like, oh, this is proof of this, and it just isn't. The site has all the signs of it, though. There's an altar with engravings of cows. Is there? Because we've also had claims to be made of these sites. I guess I would have to look at what site you're talking about, because multiple sites have been claimed for multiple things with multiple stuffs. A lot of it debunked, a lot of it just wrong. There's no proof of anything. Some random dude yelling that Jesus is real over 2,000 years ago would have never made it today. The Bible has been around for very little since writing was introduced. Yeah. Jabal al-Lawz. Is that the site that you want me to look at? I will take a picture of that for you and look at that later. Abortion is a completely different topic. Completely separate from God just murdering babies to show how amazing he is. And it's not one that we have time to get into because I am at the end of the stream. But thank you all so much for being here.
Asked a question.
Who re-asked your question?
Up top. Towards the top. No, down. Right there.
I'm going to take your suggestion on re-asking my question. Thank you for pointing that out. Should one who has no morals have to follow law, or should their negative actions be justified since there is a lack of morals? Law exists, and morals and ethics exist to help humanity work together for the betterment of society and everyone in it, including ourselves. Things work best when people follow these laws and when these laws are enforced. So, yes. If you can't play nice with the other kids, then there's going to be some issues. But that is the end of my stream. I'm quite late for ending the stream. A lot of good, there's a lot of good conversations that I want to keep having.
It was going.
Yeah, I thank you all for showing up and having good, engaging, hard conversations. Got stumped multiple times. I want more of this, so come back in other live streams. If I could stay live for another like 5 hours and really dive into everything with all of you, I would absolutely love to, but I cannot. So I hope to see you all in other live streams. I hope we can continue these conversations. I hope you can keep stumping me and keep pushing me to learn more and study more and try to understand more and maybe push me back to believing in a God. That would be kind of cool. I'd actually like that. But for now, I must say goodnight. So thank you all so much for being here. I always appreciate it when anyone gives me any kind of their time. I'm a random nobody on YouTube or on the internet, not just YouTube. I'm not really anything special or great or anything, so the fact that anyone's willing to give me the time of day is really cool, especially when people are willing to stick around, engage in chat, like, subscribe, whatever else is super duper cool. So thank you truly for being here and for a very intellectually stimulating live stream. Sorry I didn't get to everyone, but like I said, I can't have multiple different really thought-provoking conversations at once as much as I would love to. But hope to see you all another time. I usually do my live streams every Tuesday night at about 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yes, I know it's Wednesday. I had to move it. But yeah, hope to see you in other live streams.
There's also a Discord.
There's also a Discord. There's a link in my description on my channel to all the different places that you can find me. So you can go check that out. But for now, good night, and thank you so much for being here.